All right, today we're going to dive into something pretty fascinating, a brand new report from Morgan Stanley. They laid out their top investment ideas for the next couple of years, and we're going to break down exactly what they're betting on. And more importantly, why. It's really the question on every investor's mind right now, isn't it? With the world changing so fast, where are the real opportunities? Well, let's see what Morgan Stanley has to say about that. So their answer comes in the form of something called the America's Thematic Focus List. And look, this isn't just some random collection of stocks. No, it's a super curated list. Just 18 companies that they think are perfectly positioned to win big from some absolutely massive global shifts. Okay, so what are these huge shifts they're talking about? Well, the entire list is built around a framework of 4 key global themes. And understanding these themes, well, that's the key to unlocking the why behind every single stock they've picked. First up, we've got 2 big ones, tech diffusion and the future of energy. And you might be wondering what connects these two? Well, it's one thing, artificial intelligence. The explosion of AI isn't just a tech story anymore. It's creating this insane demand for power that's completely rewriting the rules for the energy sector. I mean, we're talking about a total reversal of energy trends that have been in place for decades. It's huge. And then we have the other 2 themes, the multipolar world and societal shifts. Now, multipolar world sounds complicated, but it's pretty simple. It just means the old era of easy globalization is kind of over. Now, it's all about bringing supply chains and manufacturing closer to home. And societal shifts? That's all about how things like AI and, changing demographics are just completely shaking up the way we all work and live. So it's probably no surprise to anyone that the biggest bet on this entire list is on tech and AI. I mean, this is clearly where Morgan Stanley sees some of the absolute best opportunities. So let's dive in and look at their top picks in this space. And coming in at number 1, it's a name you're definitely going to recognize, Microsoft. They didn't just include it on the list, they've flagged it as a top pick, which is their highest level of conviction. And check this out, Morgan Stanley sees a potential, get this, 42% upside from where it's trading now. I mean, for a company the size of Microsoft, that is just a massive vote of confidence. Wow. So what's got them so excited about Microsoft? Well, it all boils down to their absolute dominance in the AI race. They're not just in the race, they are set up to own every single layer of the AI stack. We're talking from the ground up, the Azure cloud infrastructure, all the way to the apps you and I use every day, like M365 Copilot. Okay, but Microsoft isn't the only tech titan getting the spotlight here. Morgan Stanley's next top pick is another giant, Amazon. And for Amazon, they're calling for a 32% potential upside. Again, that is a seriously strong signal for one of the biggest companies in the world. So what's the story with Amazon? Well, their strength here is really a 1-2 punch. First, you got Amazon Web Services, AWS, which is basically the engine room providing the raw power for this whole AI revolution. But then, on the other side, they're poised to dominate something they call agentic commerce. Just think about it, an AI assistant that doesn't just find stuff for you, but actually goes ahead and buys it. That's the future Amazon is building right now. All right, let's switch gears a bit. We're going to move away from pure tech and look at those other big themes, energy and the New World Order. And this, to me, is where things get really interesting because you start to see how this AI boom is creating a ripple effect, fueling demand in totally different parts of the economy. And first up in this category is a company called EQT Corp. Now, these guys are the largest natural gas producer in the entire US. And yep, you guessed it, they're another top pick on the list. And the potential upside they see here? A very solid 38%. And that number tells you something important. This isn't being treated like some old-school energy play. Nope. This is a direct bet on the massive new power demands of our digital world. The logic here is actually super simple. All those AI data centers, they are unbelievably power-hungry, and natural gas is one of the most reliable ways to power them. So what EQT is doing is locking in these long-term contracts they call well-to-watt. It's pretty brilliant. They're basically selling gas straight from the ground to the power plants that feed the grid. It makes them a direct, hands-on beneficiary of the whole AI boom. Okay, now let's talk about that multipolar world theme. There's a company on the list that's perfectly set up to cash in on this, Vesta. They're a top industrial real estate developer down in Mexico. And, no surprise here, they're also a top pick. And what's really interesting is that Vesta has the exact same projected upside as EQT, 38%. But its story is driven by a totally different global force. This one is all about the complete rewiring of global supply chains. Yeah, this pick boils down to one key idea: nearshoring. You've probably heard the term. As companies all over the world look to move their manufacturing closer to North America, Mexico is becoming this massive hub. And who's building the factories and warehouses they all need? Vesta. They are right in the sweet spot of this huge geopolitical trend. Every list like this has an outlier, a real standout, and this one is no different. So let's talk about the single stock with the highest projected upside on the entire list. And this one is tied directly to that theme of societal shifts. The company's name is Phoenix Education Partners. Now, it might not be a household name like Microsoft or Amazon, but trust me, what Morgan Stanley sees here is pretty remarkable. And here's the number that makes it stand out from everything else. Ready for this? A projected upside of 51%. That is, by a long shot, the highest potential return in this entire report. So what is the huge idea behind this pick? It's all about the future of work. I mean, we all know AI is going to disrupt millions of jobs. That means the demand for people to reskill and learn new things is about to just explode. And Phoenix Education, they are laser-focused on this exact market: working adults who need flexible, affordable ways to stay competitive. It's a pure play bet on the massive transformation of the labor market itself. Okay, so we've looked at some of the standout individual stocks. Now let's pull back and look at the picture. What does the overall shape of this list tell us about where Morgan Stanley thinks the future is really heading? First off, let's talk about geography. This is, without a doubt, an America's focus list. A whopping 78% of the weight is right here in the US. The other 22% is in Latin America, which is a clear bet on both regional growth and those nearshoring trends we were just talking about. And if we break it down by sector, there's one obvious heavyweight champ: information technology. No surprise there, right, with all the focus on AI. But look what's right behind it: industrials and consumer discretionary. And that tells you a really important story. Morgan Stanley is saying this isn't just a tech boom. It's about how that tech is going to completely reshape the physical world and change how all of us spend our money. So, the big picture takeaway here is crystal clear. This list isn't about chasing short-term fads or quick wins, not at all. It is a powerful, high-conviction bet on long-term, structural change. And that leaves us with a really important final thought. As these massive themes, AI, the energy transition, this global realignment, as they all keep accelerating, how are they going to reshape not just these 18 companies, but the entire market that you and I are part of?